Welcome to another edition of the Somerville Film Group. Tonight we have a very special guest, Paul Hancock, President and CEO of Worldwide Motion Pictures Corporation. And also we have Karen Tetro from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So we're here to talk about the film Ways to Live Forever. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much, JoJo. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So Paul, this film, Ways to Live Forever, is absolutely fantastic. It covers so many different demographics, people all over the world. Everybody can embrace the film. I just truly love the film, and I want to know, how did you go about selecting this film?
Well, that's a great question. Our threshold for selecting films is pretty high. So we're looking for films that have a certain type of feel and a certain quality level in their production value, and that would include their acting and the writing and the directing. All of these things encompass our selection process and how we go about actually finalizing our decisions to pick up a film and put it out in the U.S. And when we saw Ways to Live Forever first, we just absolutely fell in love with it, like most people, and thought that it would be a fantastic film to bring to audiences in the U.S. The thing about it was the heart of the film. It had such a good heart, and it meant so much to so many people that we felt it was important to bring to the U.S. We did test screenings of the film before we actually released it in the U.S. And all the test screenings that we had throughout the United States were just fantastically received. All the audiences loved it, and the combination of the acting and the directing and the music score that is behind the film, all of these things combine to make just an absolutely wonderful experience for the film goer. So that's kind of how we look at picking up films. And when we saw this film, it sort of had all of those pieces for us.
So Paul, if I'm correct, this film really pulled on your heartstrings.
Correct. Yeah, it did. It was an incredible thing. Yeah, I've seen over a career of nearly 40 years in the business, I've seen lots of films and lots of different storylines, but this particular show had an enormous impact on me personally. It had the feel of a film that was cathartic, and that people who were experiencing these problems that these two boys were fighting leukemia, and it just felt like it would be something that was an important film, and in fact it was. One of the interesting stories about it is that the MPAA in the rating process, the Motion Picture Association of America, which rates all the films, and they had an experience with the film as well. And these people obviously see, hundreds of films every year. They called and talked to me personally to impress upon me the fact that they felt it was a very, very important film. And they used the term artifact, an artifact film, something that people would want to keep in their personal libraries for months and years to come, so that they can rewatch it over and over again. And I tell you, JoJo, when I received that call, I knew we were on the right track with a great film.
Well, I know that my mom always said to me, what makes a great film is a great storyline. And the storyline here just tugs on your heartstrings. And this film is a film that is for everybody, young, old, everybody. Everybody should see it, not just people that have sicknesses, but for everybody, because it makes you think and question. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the film?
Sure. The film is a story of two boys who are been diagnosed with leukemia, and they are attempting now to fulfill their wishes, to fill a bucket list, if you will, of things that they want to do in their lives before anything should happen to them with the disease. And it's the story of them trying to fulfill that list. And also, the subtext of the story is the most important thing, I think, is the experience that the family goes through trying to deal with this disease and this diagnosis, and coming to terms with it, and then becoming more relaxed with it, and if that's the proper term. In many cases, many of us have been touched by this disease or cancer in general, and that initial shock and going over the process and the pressures that come with that, the stresses that come with that, is one of the things that this film and its storyline addresses. And how do families come together after such a devastating diagnosis, and especially if the prognosis isn't very good? How do families deal with this? And this film has a wonderful way of letting people know that life goes on, and that you need to live each day to the fullest if you can.
You mentioned in our previous conversation, you mentioned that the one thing that the film really gives people is a lot of hope. Have you personally seen from this film the hope that Ways to Live Forever has helped people?
Yes, definitely. We've had many conversations with our supporters around the United States. Many of the hospitals and charities, foundations that have supported the film in its release have commented to us about how it has helped some of their patients, some of the families of the patients, and interestingly, many people who wanted to see the film but were afraid to see the film decided, okay, we're gonna watch this film. They maybe have children who are fighting the disease, and they see it, they watch it, and then they realize that not only is it a fun film to watch with some humorous moments in it, but it's inspirational. It's actually something that they can think about and make them feel a little bit more comfortable about what they're going through.
Well, one of the things that you're doing too is you're giving a portion of the proceeds to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which is fantastic. And that's what our special screening that's going to be coming up in Somerville at the Somerville Theater, which we'll explore more at the end of this. But what I wanted to talk to you about was the questions. There's many questions that the boys ask throughout the film. And I want to read this. I want to make sure that I quote them correctly. And I want to know what your take is, because this just blew my mind. What they said was, this was question number 2. Sam is talking. He says, why does God make children ill? And then there was question number 3. He's speaking. God is like a big doctor. He makes people ill so he can make them better, to make them less selfish. So Sam chimes in and he says, he doesn't care if you die because you just go to heaven where he lives anyway. I just went, oh, wow. What's your take on that?
I agree. It's the give and take that the boys have on this topic. Right. And I think that's one of the powerful messages that the film is trying to convey, and does in fact convey well, is you have these two boys who have conflicting feelings about the disease and about death, right, and life in general. And you see this conflict going on between them, but it's a friendly conflict. It's a friendly rivalry. And this yin and yang, if you will, between the philosophies of these two boys is I think the director did a wonderful job in explaining it. The book, the best-selling book that the movie is taken from, did a great job initially in explaining it. So I think that the way that that conflict is built and then explained in the film is a fascinating way of portraying what the problem is. We can all relate to one of the boys or the other in terms of their philosophical view on how this is playing out. So when you see them coming together, in my opinion, I think that's just a wonderful thing that this film does.
That's the beautiful thing about the movie. There is something in it for everybody, because there's all different ages, and it's a PG movie, which makes it even more exceptional. Did you have an aha moment in this film?
Yes, I did. I had probably the most, how should I say this? The most impactful moment for me is when Robbie's father, the character played by Ben Chaplin, comes to the realization that he is the one who is taking care of one is taking care of the other. And I myself have been touched by cancer. I had a late wife who passed away from cancer, and I know for a fact that there comes a point where you have to give over to your caregiver all responsibilities of life and death, and the feelings that the character, Ben Chaplin's character, goes through at that moment, I think is very powerful. It tells people that this young boy is now the one who is making the dad relax and take it easy and think through the problems. That was the aha moment for me.
I don't know what happened that night. I had strange dreams. Suddenly my bones started aching.
Sam? Are you okay? Are you okay? Wake
The really
up!
strange thing is that it was Dad who was there. Usually it was Mum.
What's the matter? What's the matter? Where does it hurt? The green and the blue.
It's a bottle.
I know it's a bottle.
Dad. It's okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Look at us. Which is the Father and which is the Son? Good boy. What was all that screaming about?
I was dreaming.
What about?
Don't know. I can't remember.
I was dreaming too.
What were you dreaming about?
About you. Without you.
Don't cry. Dad?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
And then there's also the film Ways to Live Forever. It explores the here and now, but then it goes into a little bit, it touches a little bit about how all the different cultures around the world, how they honor when a person dies, and that the afterlife does go on.
Yes, yeah, that was one of the other beautiful things about the film in our selection process that we took into account, which was the animation. There's some beautiful animation in the film, which was a surprise. Usually, to get that quality of animation, you have to be going to the major studios.
That's why we have to go so soon. When a Hindu dies, the family lights a candle beside the corpse. That's because Hindus believe the soul is all confused when it leaves the body, and the candle gives it somewhere to live. Pygmies don't like death. When somebody dies, they set the dead person's house on fire, and they never talk about the person ever again. Jewish people never leave the body on its own until it's been buried. They do that to show their respect and to make sure nobody steals the body. Afterwards, they rip their clothes to show pain. The Mexicans have a big fiesta. It's called the Day of the Dead. They go and visit the graves of their family members. They make them food and they set a place at the table for them too.
But there was this beautiful animation that tied in a lot of the different cultural aspects of death and dying and the afterlife, as you said. We found that to be exceptional, really, really special, because it was interesting, it was unusual, and it was educational. So all those things combined made it a special package.
The production value of the film was outstanding, and I agree with you with the animation. I just went, wow, how did they do that? It was great. The audio, the actors. Let's talk about the actors.
Sure.
We have the young boys that played Sam and Felix. Do you want to talk about the young actors?
Yes. We had a great cast. Ben Chaplin, as I was mentioning, is from The Water Horse and Remains of the Day, and many great films, British films. Robbie Kay, who was recently in ABC's Once Upon a Time, got a lot of great acclaim from that, and also from the Pirates of the Caribbean film series. And then Ella Purnell, who was just recently in the studio hit Maleficent, played a young Angelina Jolie. So it's a great cast. We have some interesting sub characters. We have the woman that plays the grandmother is actually Emma Thompson's mom. So we have some very interesting benefits there that bring the cast in.
And then this film also has won many awards. Tell us about that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've gotten great awards from different festivals around the country, around the world. One of our proudest awards is the Chicago Children's International Film Festival, which is a very, very prestigious film festival here in the U.S. for children's films and family films. So we're very proud of that. But yeah, it's received different awards from around the world. Critics have loved it, thank goodness, and have thought a lot about the film. And been very, very complimentary of the fact that it brings together a family. So it truly is a family film, not in the sense of being too much of a Pollyanna type attitude, but more of a realistic attitude and how families deal with this type of a problem, or any type of a problem that involves illness or medical problems.
What would you tell folks to get them out to see the special screening that's happening on September 23rd at the Somerville Theater? To get them out to see the film, what would you tell them?
Well, what I would tell them is that we're certain that they will enjoy the film, even though it appears like two boys fighting leukemia. Wow, what's that? Is that going to be something that's going to be really a downer for me? In actuality, it's not. It's a very, very powerful film that makes you think and has, as we were talking earlier, hope. It gives hope for so many different aspects of people fighting illnesses of any kind, not just leukemia. And the fact that we're going to be we're partnering with our friends at the Leukemia Lymphoma Society and many different charities and organizations around the country is just added incentive for people to help support the film, not only from a philanthropic standpoint, but from a good entertainment standpoint. And I think they'll enjoy it. It's as you said, it has something for everyone, and that's something we're very proud of.
Paul, thank you so much. And folks, please come out on September 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Somerville Theater. This is a film that will live in your hearts forever. Ways to Live Forever will live in your heart forever. It is a must-see film. I highly recommend it. And Paul Hancock from Worldwide Motion Pictures Corporation, thank you. And God bless you.
Thank you, JoJo. Appreciate everything you're doing and all of the support we're receiving from the good people of the Boston area.
Thank you. See you there. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to another edition of the Somerville Film Group. I am JoJo LaRiccia, and today our guest is Karen Tatro from the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen, tell us, what is the Leukemia Lymphoma Society?
The Leukemia Lymphoma Society is the largest voluntary society for blood cancers. Our mission is to find a cure for blood cancers and to provide a better life for patients and their families.
What is leukemia?
Leukemia is a cancer of the blood, specifically the white blood cells. The white blood cells start to multiply out of control and keep the regular cells, the red blood cells, the normal white blood cells, and the platelets from being able to do the job that they're supposed to do.
Are there different types of leukemia?
There are, depending on the type of white blood cell that's affected. There are several different forms. There's acute lymphoblastic leukemia, acute myelogenous leukemia, chronic lymphoblastic leukemia, and chronic myelogenous leukemia are the main types, but there are many other subtypes as well.
And then there's lymphoma.
And there's
what
lymphoma.
is that?
That is also blood cancer affecting the blood cells, but that frequently is the blood cells that are formed in the lymph nodes rather than in the bone marrow.
There's this great movie called Ways to Live Forever, and they are taking proceeds, a portion of the proceeds, and they're giving it to Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Why don't we check out the trailer and then we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Recording.
My name's Sam. I'm 12 years old. I collect stories and fantastic facts. I have leukemia, and by the time you see this, I'll probably be dead.
The question has gnawed at humanity for centuries. How not to die? Come on then. Think of ways to live forever.
Get them to freeze you. Then in hundreds of years' time, a company will have found a cure for cancer. Then they can defrost you.
What a load of rubbish. The safest way is to copy your brain onto a hard disk and live eternally on a computer. And just hope you don't get a virus.
Is Sam still sick?
Sam isn't going to the hospital anymore. He's going to stay at home with us.
Why isn't he going to school?
Living forever is not possible, but there is something eternal we can leave behind.
I'm writing a book.
It's not going to be a tearjerker.
No.
Good.
Things I want to do before I die. Be a famous scientist, go up-down escalators, ride in an airship, be a teenager, and have girlfriends.
Let's go.
Break a world record? Are you going to do all these things?
There are only 2 things you can actually do on this list. All the rest is impossible.
Nothing is impossible. Let's get this place rocking.
I don't want anybody to be sad either. I mean, I have hair. Some things are perfect from start to finish.
This guy made 200 worms in 30 seconds.
That's not a Guinness World Record.
This movie, Ways to Live Forever, is incredible.
It's a tearjerker.
I cried.
I did too.
I laughed. It's a must-see for everyone. to check it out.
It certainly is.
But the main focus is, please tell us what it's about.
What it's about are these two teenage boys who have leukemia, and medical science has done as much for them as it can. So what they've decided is to make their mark and live forever by leaving something behind, something to remember them by. And they start this bucket list of different things that they've always wanted to do, and they find ways to accomplish this. And they videotape themselves to have a video diary of it. It's very inspiring. It's not so much a way to die, but a way to live.
Right, the movie is about living.
Ways to live forever.
You think ways to live forever. You think it's about dying, but when you watch it, you realize it's about living, and you question your own existence, what we have done. So how is Ways to Live Forever going to help the Leukemia Lymphoma Society?
I hope that Ways to Live Forever will help more people understand the kind of thing that families go through when there is someone in their family with this sort of diagnosis. The ways that they cope, or the ways that they choose to deal with the illness and the stress of having someone in their family essentially have a terminal disease.
So this is Ways to Live Forever isn't just for people that have leukemia. It's also to help families that have illnesses.
Right, any illness. Anyone with any sort of serious illness can relate to this movie.
What is one of the aha moments in the movie for you?
One of the aha moments?
What's one of the aha moments?
I think it's when the father finally realized that his denying that his son wasn't going to get better was actually robbing him of participating in his son's last time. Whatever time he had left, he was, by being in denial, he was missing out on the time that they had. And when he realized this and realized what he could do to be part of his son's life at the end of his son's life, that was the aha moment for me.
I love all the different relationships between friends. And when you think about it, these boys were 12 years old in the movie?
Yeah, 12, 13, something like that.
They're 12 years old. And here they are, they're making a bucket list. We have people that are in their 70s and 80s, and they're still thinking about what they want to do. These boys are 12 years old, and they have a bucket list, and they have achieved many of the different things in their bucket list, which just blows my mind that these young people
are able to do that, yes.
I think the movie should be in every school across the land, because there is something in this movie for everybody. It's going to have you question your own existence. So getting back to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, you have different ways to raise money, because as we know, there is not a cure.
There is not.
There's not a cure, so you're
not.
always looking to raise money because it's part of what you do.
That's right.
So you have something that's called Light the Night Walk. Can you tell us about that?
The Light the Night Walk is, we do that in the fall. We have one coming up in Boston. It'll be on the Boston Common, October 9th. That's a Thursday evening, and anyone who wants to come down is more than welcome. People carry lighted lanterns, white for survivors, red for supporters, and gold for in memory of. People raise money and do the walk on the Common. It's a short walk, about 2.5 miles. So please come on down and join us and help celebrate life. We also have other walks across New England, so if that's not convenient for you, then please check out the website, www.lightthenight.org, and find one that's most convenient for you.
And if I'm correct, you are going to be at the big screener for Ways to Live Forever.
I will be.
Which is going to be September 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Somerville Theater. Let me tell you, folks, you have to see this film. It is so worth seeing. And a portion of the proceeds go to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And Karen, I want to thank you so much for being here today. You've been a marvelous guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're terrific. And thank you, folks. Hope to see you at the Somerville Theater September 23rd at 7 p.m. to see Ways to Live Forever. Have a great day.